Many of you may be unaware of the fact that during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protest, that the white establishment opted for the capitalization of the letter B in Black people. Black people should be always capitalized because the lowercase black is a color, not a people. When referring to people as a distinct racial and ethnic group, a uppercase letter should always be used. However, that hasn't been the case in regards to us. For centuries, we've witnessed notable white magazines, newspapers, and school textbooks more often using the lowercase b whenever writing about Black people. It was only during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests that the white establishment opted for the capitalization of Black people becoming a standard. This might seem insignificant to many Black people because most don't understand what's actually happening. It might seem like such a minor thing, but it demonstrates that the white establishment is complicit and fully cognizant of how they deliberately marginalizes Black people. All societies function based upon the narratives that are fed into society. Everyone is assigned a racial identity based upon the narratives fed into a society, whether or not they realize it. The narratives fed into the white dominant society are deliberately distorted to socially construct a higher identity for Caucasians and a lower identity for we Africans. The white society is literally falsely scripted to propagate the myth that whites are inherently superior to Blacks. And it's so obvious that it's only by not critically thinking that it cannot be seen. For when critically thinking, it becomes clear to see just how cartoonishly unrealistic it actually is that virtually all study results that we receive from white sources favors whites over Blacks. It's also cartoonishly unrealistic the fact that all narratives fed into our society about whites are consistently positive, while all narratives about Blacks are consistently negative. Both of these scenarios are cartoonishly unrealistic. It's being done for maintaining white social dominance over Blacks. The white society is unrelentingly committed to the preservation of its nation's white social dominance over its Black population. Therefore, when those blatant racist subjugation tactics used in the past for maintaining white social dominance over Blacks had become no longer socially acceptable with the changing times and had resulted in unprecedented unified Black protests, the white society did not abandon the practice. They merely instead developed more covert and more sophisticated method for maintaining their social dominance over Blacks through the continued subjugation of Black people by using social sciences. Social science is one of the branches of science devoted to the study of human behavior, specifically how people interact with each other, behave, and develop as a culture and moves forward as a society. White social scientists determined a long time ago that by perpetually feeding distorted narratives into our society that falsely exalts whites and falsely marginalizes Blacks, this creates and sustains social norms within a society that directly aids in maintaining white social dominance over Black people. This is being done by white social scientists, historians, and propagandists that perpetually falsely exalts whites and perpetually falsely marginalize Black people. There are even repeated storyline narratives in TV scripts that are being assigned to Black characters and that are assigned to white characters that aids in maintaining white social dominance over Black people. The history taught within our schools makes Caucasians appear significantly more relevant and significant throughout history than they truly in fact were, while making we Africans appear significantly lesser than we truly in fact were. We are being perpetually marginalized while they're being perpetually exalted. They even distort their published maps to make Africa appear 13 times smaller than its true size, while making all white countries appear significantly larger than their true sizes. When they display the evolutionary chart, they place the highest evolved head on the make it white, and the lowest evolved, they put black skin on it. This conveys that whites are superior to blacks. But in reality, we Africans are not even included on their evolutionary charts. We're not. Unlike Caucasians who evolved from lower primates, we Africans have always been Homo sapiens. They also created the term the Middle East to make it appear that the great building achievement of Africa's ancient Egyptians were outside of the capabilities of we Africans. They then created the false narrative that Africa's ancient Egyptians were ridiculously Europeans in order to give themselves, their racial group, credit for the great building achievements of we Africans. The white society sits upon a throne of white exalting and black marginalizing lies. It's a nefarious whitewashing practice called Orwellian propaganda. Orwellian propaganda are societal conditions created and sustained by disinformation, misinformation, distortion of facts, denial of truth, and even the manipulation of the past to falsely exalt Caucasians and to falsely marginalize we Africans. White historians justify this unethical practice by saying that it's customary for conquerors to distort facts and rewrite history to favor themselves. However, the true reason it's being done is much more self-serving of the white society. The first reason it's being done is because, according to white social scientists, in order for a dominant group to maintain its position of social dominance over its subordinate population, the narratives fed into a society must endorse the dominant group's position of social dominance. Therefore, they must be exalted. This exaltation of the dominant group subliminally conveys the message that the dominant group is inherently superior and are therefore supposed to rule over its subordinate population. This means those narratives must falsely exalt the dominant group. White social scientists describe this nefarious practice as merely instilling a value system into the collective minds of black people that makes us adhere to the authority and existing infrastructure of the white dominant culture. The true history of Caucasians does not endorse their position of dominance over us. It actually tells the opposite. Therefore, the history we've been taught has been whitewashed, has been distorted to serve this objective of endorsing their position of dominance over black people, to make themselves appear more significant throughout history than they truly in fact were. The second reason why this whitewashing of reality is being done is because white social scientists also theorizes that a people's future is predestined by the history they're taught to believe about themselves. According to their theory, an inspiring history is required to achieve an inspiring future because people reference their future capabilities based upon their past achievements. The true history of Caucasians does not inspire their future. Therefore, the history we've been taught has also been whitewashed to inspire Caucasians. It's been whitewashed for the benefit of Caucasian, thus inspiring the future aspiration of their racial group. According to white social scientists, truth is not important for steering society and inspiring a people's future. What's only important is what's perceived as being true. This nefarious social engineering science is what's meant when they said those who control the past also controls the future. The general population doesn't know what's happening, and it doesn't even know it doesn't know. That's a quote from Noam Chomsky. Don't be fooled. If the oppressors were truly superior, they wouldn't have to tell so many lies, distort so many facts to convey it. Nor would they have to work this hard behind the scenes to handicap those whom they claim are inferior. Brothers and sisters, they're waging a war against our minds. And if we keep reading the Bibles and reading Willie Lynch, we're looking like damn fools. We have to wake up and see the war so we can start developing counter strategies. If all you know is reading your Bible and believing in Willie Lynch, you are a damn fool. It's time to wake up and see the reality. One love and peace.